Afternoon, guys. It's Crypto Freedom, and this is a initial token offering from GMP. This one, I think some people may struggle to understand. It's Global Metrology Project. Metrology is like the weights, the measures, the standardization in a scientific context, but it's goes into industries and all sorts. I would say have a read of the metrology news. You'll get an idea of what it actually is. Because and I'll be honest with you, some people are saying, "Matt, you're doing too many ICOs on things like advertising and stuff. We want something a bit more cutting edge." Well, here you have one. Basically, anything that needs developed will have metrology. It needs it. It standardizes it. It deals with the weights, the measures, and all the complex scientific stuff in there. Now, the GMP project's coming out of Russia. The mission of Global Metrology Project will provide the adequacy of the decision making, and it's fairly extensive. I'll be honest with you, you're going to have to have a proper read of this one, but it's certainly one worth looking at. For the investor, read that, watch that video, and then watch that one. I won't click on them myself because they're about 3 minutes long each, and it's much easier for you to just watch them on YouTube yourself. The reason I'm interested in this is quite simply it's a growing market because it's very cutting edge, it's needed for manufacturing, it's needed for military, it's needed for pretty much everything. According to experts, the share of expenses for the metrological provision constitutes to 5 to 10% of social labor. As for the branches of industry producing complex equipment, it reaches 20 to 30%. The cost of metrological works and services in the developed countries constitutes 4 to 6% of the gross domestic product. That's a huge market. $15 trillion is just part of an already existing market at which GMP projects is orientated. In the era of wide introduction of new technology and automation, the global metrology service market grows at more than 10% a year. So it's in a growth market as well. That's another important factor on this. The initial token offering is already started. And the thing is, there's I think there's 1,000 projects on this as well. It's worth looking into it. This is the token, so we're going to have a read of this yourself. At the moment, you can get it for 15 cents. I'll go up to 45 cents and just continue to go up. But I want to get down to the roadmap, which is the bit you guys are going to be interested in. So this is not a new project. It started in 2015, which is the procurement of laboratory equipment and getting the certificate of accreditation. I assume this is within Russia. I'm not 100%, but I would say that's for operations within Russia currently. The successful result of the pilot phase allows us to start scaling up the project. So they did that in 2016. This is where we are now. Initial token offering, investment, attraction, expansion of the project team. So they already have tested it. And these guys are not IT based, they're scientific based. They're from their niche. They know what they're doing. They're looking for investment, they're looking for expansion. They already know their market. They already know where to capture more business from. They just need to get it kick-started, and that's where we're involved. So 2018-2020, the opening of 86 GMP centers in the Russian Federation and creation of the first cluster, Moscow. So over the next 3 years, so at the end of 2017 to 2020, they'll start developing these clusters of these GMP centers. The beginning of testing and certification of product for the military industrial complex. So although this is fairly extensive, this is a long-term investment, but it's one that already has a market. The fact that they're already talking the beginning of the test and certification of production for the military industrial complex tells us they already have people that they're connected with to even put that on here. They were already interwoven with them somewhere. The opening of 18 GMP centers in the countries of the CIS, the Commonwealth of Independent Countries, the creation of Cluster Astana. So more expansion and more expansion all the way through. So it's a fairly extensive timeline. I'll just take it up to here because obviously with ICOs, we're interested in the first few years, and then we'll just start, once it's hit here, we're going to see growth anyway. Because obviously we're starting to get return in investment because it's now gone into mass production, mass usage, should we say. The top management of Global Metrology Project, the first person is Sergi, as a co-founder of GMP, the ideological inspirer and founder of the project, businessman, investor, and philanthropist. We are the witnesses and participants of not just a new historical era, but also a new step in human evolution. We have a real chance to become involved in the given process. Each one of these people on here, you can click on them and get a breakdown on what they do, where they've come from, what's their background, so that you can get an understanding of the people. I would say this is people from the scientific niche that they're in. That's as simple as that. Now, the white paper, we'll go to the blog first. The blog's got some more information and videos. That's another one I say take a serious look at. There you go. What the investors to get, so you understand what you're going to get out of it, what the risks are, etc. There's a lot of information in there. I mean, this has got to be one of the first ICOs, ITOs that have got this amount of information I've come across. The white paper is 65 pages long and is is very comprehensive. So there's a whole breakdown on what they're doing, where they're going. The data from the leading metrological centers of the world, such in the USA, the UK, Australia, demonstrates that the return on investment into metrology in high technology industries can reach up to 400%, and some of them which are the most advanced, such as new material and nanotechnology, the investment return can reach 1,000%. So the information's there. It's all there, and they're on Bitcoin Talk as well. So you can have some questions and answers, have a read up on it, get an understanding of what it's about. But it's certainly a market that has a huge market. I know myself, I worked with a Ministry of Defense research company, and their budget was just, what would be limitless almost, because they developed new technologies. So I can see there's a huge market for this, because I know with the company I was working for, a lot of it went from Ministry of Defense into the private sector, then it was sold to third parties, things like LCD screens, all sorts of new technologies. So there's a huge market. And the thing with GMP, the whole metrology thing, is it's based on the weights, the measures, obviously the molecular stuff, it's quite complicated. And even from what I've been reading in the last couple of hours on it, I'm still getting to grips with it, but it's certainly something I can see a market for. Right, thanks for watching.